Let's take a look at how to create a value scale. We're going to begin by creating some straight lines using a ruler. It doesn't matter how wide apart these lines are, but try to make them fairly even. We're going to be creating some boxes that you can use to practice 3 different kinds of techniques for creating value. Now we're going to divide up these rectangles into some individual squares. I'm going to divide mine into 7 squares. You can divide yours into 7 or 5. You need to have an odd number. Measuring those evenly, and then I'm going to connect the lines together to create these boxes. Once you have your boxes created, you're going to start shading the top right box as dark as you can. Now I'm using a 6B pencil, so it's very soft and it can create a very dark mark. Notice how I'm holding the pencil even though it's sped up. I'm not holding it in the way that I would to write. I'm pinching it between my thumb and forefinger and allowing that pencil to kind of shake back and forth freely within my hand. I'm going over it several times. Now I'm going to go to my center square, in this case my 4th square, and I'm going to try to fill that in about 50%. So it's half as dark as the one on the right, and the one on the left is going to remain white. Now I'm going to go back over these next 2 squares and make them about as dark as my middle tone. These are going to be gradually changing from dark to that middle tone or middle value. So I'm gently building up those values. I'm not trying to do it all at once. Again, using the edge of my pencil and going back and forth in different directions so I don't have any strong marks there. I'm not rubbing it with my finger. I'm just creating that value with a pencil. I'm going to do the same thing for these lighter values. Now these you have to just very, very gently touch the paper and build up that value just a little. This takes practice. So now I have a shaded value scale. My next value scale, I'm going to do what's called cross-hatching. I create diagonal lines for my middle value, and it should be about 50%. Now I'm going to go ahead and just continue those diagonal lines all the way across because these are going to be darker. When you create darker values with cross-hatching, you go back and forth in different directions, and so you progressively cover more and more of the white paper. So I'm going to go back and forth in different directions over and over again. This takes quite a bit of time until I get those values that I want. So going in different directions, diagonally from left to right, right to left, up and down, until I get that value. And again, on the lighter side, I'm going to space my lines out farther and make them lighter to create my value. Now for the last one, I was going to do some stippling. Stippling is where you make these little dots and have to be closer together in order to create darker values and farther apart for less obvious values, kind of like what you see the little dots on a newspaper. But I decided that takes too long, so I decided to just do patterns. Again, I'm going to cover more of the paper where I have darker values. Now once I get to the center, again I'm going to be filling in about 50%. I thought I'd do kind of like this scale pattern, and so I went ahead and created that. But then I decided it wasn't quite dark enough, so I did a little shading just to kind of get that value that I wanted. And then I continued making patterns for my lighter side. Again, leaving more of the white space. When you're finished doing those, try shading without boxes in a gradual strip from dark to light. Practice releasing the pressure on your pencil as you go to see if you can create a smooth transition. I had to kind of go back over that one a little bit. I started from dark to light. Now I'm going to go from dark to light the other direction. Good to practice in both directions. And try and get that really smooth. This is a great thing to just sit around and practice when you're doodling.